Hello, and welcome to this bonus episode of Cora's Place. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me for today's conversation. For the next several weeks, instead of my originally planned episodes, I will be doing a series on my experience working at a summer camp. Today's episode will be all about the first week at camp and adjusting to life there. As always, if you like what you hear, please leave a review and/or comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. Also, please follow the podcast page I've made on Facebook. If you'd like to contact me via email instead of a Facebook message, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. If you are new here, welcome. I'm your host Cora, and I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. I don't have any verses for this series, but I hope you still enjoy it anyway. Welcome to this podcast series! I am super excited to share these stories with you over the next few weeks. Here's a little background for those who are just tuning into my podcast for the first time. I worked at a summer camp this summer, 2023, for those listening in 2024 or later, and I wanted to make a series about it once I returned home. This summer was an incredible, exhausting, wonderful, crazy, busy, and sometimes overwhelming experience, but I would definitely consider doing it again if I am able to. The first week was a little overwhelming, just trying to learn everything and getting used to being at camp and away from my family. But I managed and made it through, with God's help and strength carrying me through it. Before I dive into the first week, I want to start by talking about the day I arrived at the camp. I arrived to the camp on Sunday, June 4th, because training started on June 5th. It made more sense and was easier for me to go the day before, so I could already be there. On that day, I went to church and helped with the kids' ministry, went to one of my favorite coffee places to get my free birthday drink, because my birthday was the day before leaving for camp, came home to get all my stuff packed into the car and eat a quick lunch. My family and I drove down to the camp. I put my stuff in my room, said goodbye to my family, went to the evening service at the church I attended over the summer with the camp staff, and then came back to the camp. It was an emotionally rough day for me, but I made it through with God's help. I don't usually cry very often, but I did cry a few times over the summer. Now, let's get back to the first week. For our first week, we had lots of different orientation training things and just getting to know each other, but we also did some other fun things as a staff too. We went swimming, watched a movie outside, went on the camp's zip line, had a staff softball game, and did some team building exercises as a staff. We also got the camp ready for the first group of campers that were coming on the following Monday, June 12th. I got a lot of steps over the summer because I would have to walk back and forth from the dining hall to the staff building and sometimes other places too. It was good though because I was getting exercise and a little fresh air too. I also got to call both my dad and my grandma on Sunday, June 11th for a little while, and that was nice. I enjoyed both calls a lot. They were definitely very nice to enjoy after a busy week. After those calls, I had to switch over a load of laundry, and then I walked back over to the staff building. As I walked back to the staff building at that moment, I reminded myself why I was there. I was there to serve God, serve the camp and campers, to gain new friends and experiences, and gain job experience. I was not doing it just to get money. While having money is helpful and nice, it's not about the money. It was about serving God in the camp and making an impact in the lives of all the campers that would attend over the summer. Having technology this summer was really helpful so I could keep in contact with friends and family back home or that live far away from me. I'm not sure what I would have done without technology to keep in contact easily. I mean, I could have written letters, and I did write a couple over the summer, but it was also good to have the ease of and access to technology so I could get in contact with people faster. I also took some pictures over the summer. I didn't take as many pictures or videos as I would have liked, but I do have some, so I can look back on those and enjoy those whenever I choose to. Adjusting to life at camp was really hard at first, but I eventually got used to it. I think one of the hardest parts was being away from my family for so long. I'm used to being with my family a lot since my family homeschools and we're together pretty much all the time, so to not really be with my family much for 2 months was really strange for a while. It definitely took me a little while to get used to all the new routines at camp and not being with my family all the time, but I think I can pretty confidently say that it was worth it, even when it was exhausting, overwhelming, frustrating, and hard. Trying to learn all the parts to the different tasks at the camp at the same time as trying to adjust to being away from my family for so long was overwhelming and hard at times, but I persevered, and I'm glad I did. It wasn't always easy, but God gave me grace, patience, strength, and courage every day. One of the things that I was concerned about with being at camp at first was sleeping. I usually have trouble sleeping when I'm somewhere I'm not used to, even if I have been to that particular place before, but I didn't have as much trouble as I thought I would. I had some familiar things with me, which probably helped some. Sleeping enough once we got into the camp season was hard though, because it would usually be long days, so I wouldn't usually get quite as much sleep going into them, as we stayed up a little later than the campers did, and then we had to be up early every morning. Weekends were fun though, because we would do different things or hang out once we were done cleaning on Saturdays after the campers left. The first day of our first weekend post-campers, June 16th, we went to a state park not too far from the camp, hiked for a little while, and then went back to the camp. Then, on the second day, June 17th, we just hung out and went out to do things until we had to work that day. We had to work part of the 17th because there was a 7-day rental that started that day, so we had to be back for dinner. We went out to do stuff, and we blasted music as we were driving. We all sang really loud, though I couldn't really hear myself. Doing that made me laugh a lot, and there was one moment in particular where I was laughing so hard that I had tears forming in my eyes. That was a blast, and I loved that so much. The hike on the 16th was fun, but super exhausting. Sometimes the hike was challenging, but it definitely gave me a chance to work on that. The same thing can be true of life. Life can be fun and exhausting, but we will not go through life without facing some kind of challenge. Some examples of different challenges could be losing a loved one, a chronic illness, facing an unexpected diagnosis, moving, job loss, friendship problems, various family situations, relationship issues, or anything like that. When we face challenges, it can be hard to rely on God's strength, but this summer taught me how to rely on Him and to look to Him alone for strength. We need to look to Him for our strength. If we try to do things only in our strength, we will get very weary and exhausted. That will make any battles we face in life harder to fight. I will go a little more in depth about the different things I had to rely on God for during this summer in an episode to come soon. One of my favorite parts of the first week was either getting to go on the zipline or getting to hang out with all the staff and laugh a lot. One of the hard parts was either adjusting to not being with my family or getting used to all the new routines. Once I adjusted and was able to get into more of a routine, things were better. Still challenging at times, but better. I'm glad God gave me the opportunity this summer to grow as a person and in my relationship with Him. I'm very thankful I managed to stay healthy the whole time I was there, even though sickness went through some of our staff a couple of different times. I had just a couple more things that I wanted to share in this episode before I end it. Something I hope people get out of this episode and new series is that stepping out of your comfort zone by doing something new is a good thing. It can lead to so many amazing benefits and blessings, and it can also be an encouragement to others because they see your trust in God. It is hard, but it can definitely be worth it for sure. I definitely noticed that this summer. If I had chosen just to stay home all summer and not work at the camp, I would have missed out on all the laughter, growth, friendships, experiences, and memories. I made some really good memories and a few good friends. I probably laughed more there than I had for a little while. God also taught me some really good lessons too while I was there. I'll share more about all of the memories, lessons, friends, laughter, and more in the episodes to come over the next several weeks. I am super excited to get to share all of these stories with you all. If you have any questions about my experience as you listen to these episodes, please reach out and let me know. I would love to talk with you. I loved the experience and would recommend it to anyone looking for a temporary summer job. It was a really fun experience. It had its challenges at times, but it was also a good experience, and it's also something I would consider doing again in the future if God allows me to. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please follow, leave a comment and a review of my podcast if you haven't already, and please follow my podcast page on Facebook so you never miss an update. If you have any verses you'd like me to read on a future episode, or if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. And I can. Hope you tune in next week for the second bonus episode.